very important topic, that is residency and licensing pathways for MBBS students. And along with this, I will be talking about what are the other opportunities, job opportunities, and also what else you can do rather than just practicing as MBBS. Okay. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Rasok, for this opportunity and this collaboration.
You're welcome.
So, so let's start with talking a little bit about medjections. So this was an idea 1 year ago that there are many loopholes and students are out of guidance where how to do the research, how to decide for the pathways, and their medjections came into scene, and uh, now it's a registered company, and we are focusing on all the pathways possible for the students so that they can explore, they can know pros and cons, and along with that whatever exam demands. For example, if it is demanding research work, we try to provide all the guidance, mentorship for the research work. If it is demanding your preparation, we are guiding for that also, and if it is demanding your resume building, we are working on that also. So medjections is a big umbrella where you will get every guidance, pros and cons, and that too as from a doctor, because we all are in the same boat and we know how it um, how things goes on, right? So yeah. Okay, so about me. So Simran has already talked about me. So I'm MBBS gold medalist, and I'm also Stanford certified researcher, TEDx speaker, author. Recently, Medjections have has published a book that is for the doctors, by the doctors. It is Ethical Horizons, where 30 students worked and they are now authors of a book chapter. So this is me trying to aspire doctors in research, residency applications, and academic storytelling. So now when we see the Indian students, how they are proceeding for their residency. So if you see USMLE, in this last year 2024 to 2025, there were surge for the students between 2500 to 3000. You can see for the plab it's 1000, 2000, and for the plab it has been reduced, because of job saturation in UK. Then comes Australia, which has been increasing, although it says more than less than 500, but honestly it is more than 2000 students. Singapore 3000, but Singapore is majorly for job rather than post graduation. I will be talking about that. Germany, yes, again 2000. France 1000, then Ireland 1000, and NEET PG you can see 2,30,000. So we have NEET PG as a very competitive exam, and DHA also it goes like 1500 to 2000. So it's a basic estimate how many students are searching to different countries every year. Now, let's start with the Indian PG only, because in any case, I feel like many students, even if they are trying to go to another residency application, they still go for the NEET PG exam. So we know this, that it's a single national exam for residency, and the eligibility goes MBBS degree and internship completion. And as a requirement for FMGs, we need to get FMG exam clearance, and then we can go for the NEET PG. Now, I will be also talking about the pros and the cons. Now, coming to the NEET PG pros, we have the direct route that you give one exam. It's although it's competitive, but if you prepare well and you get good scores, you are into the residency, right? Another thing, if you go into the government college, the fees is very low, and you also get the stipend, a good amount of stipend depending on the states. And then what is the major cons here is that first thing, it's competitive, there are limited seats of course, but the major issue is that there is obligation for the bond, and if you are not completing that 2 years bond, then you have to pay around somewhere it's like 20 lakhs, and in some states it's 40 lakhs. So that's a huge amount. So that is one of the obligations to follow, and one of the cons that students face after NEET PG. So, another, this is the most talked one, USMLE. every second student is interested for the USMLE, right? So there is like, first we have to go with the exams. Step 1, step 2 CK, step 3 plus OET. OET is necessary for getting your ECFMG credentials, right? So certification is only possible after OET. So structure, you know that it is clinical based questions. There are different blocks. In the step 1, it is 7 to 8 blocks, 40 questions each, and they are mostly focusing on basics and organ systems in step 1, more clinical in step 2, and step 3 is also where you get stations and you have to give this exam in US. So one of the pros here is that step 1, step 2 you can give in your country or wherever you are staying for your job. Additionally, OET can be given from anywhere. Step 3 is the one that you give outside, like in US. Another thing, one of the good thing why students go for USMLE, reason being that after third year, means once you are you are completed your basic subjects. In India it's after second year, but mostly students give after third year because they need some time for the revision, for the practice, and after that you can appear for step 1. And for step 2 also, you need to complete your subjects, and after that you can give your exam, the clinical subjects, and you are eligible for step 2. Then you have to, for the step 3 you need your MBBS degree, and once it's verified, then only you can go for the step 3 exam. So this is the important point, because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. USMLE exam or MRCP, PLAB, these are not a sprint race. It's a marathon. So you have to work on multiple steps. Firstly, now you have to get Mind Health login first, then you apply for the exam, and there are multiple level fees. So that's one of the cons, that it is expensive. It's very expensive. It's a marathon, as I said. You have to work on every single thing. It's not actually competitive on the basis like NEET PG, but it is competitive because you have to outshow yourself. You have to show up that who are you. You are a doctor, you are a researcher, you have good elective experience, you have good clinical experience, you have good some different volunteer work. So there are a lot of things you have to show up for getting into the residency. Now, why USMLE is getting so famous? Because in India, in the NEET PG, you know that radiology, derma, and medical fields are very competitive, and there are so less seats. But in USMLE, if you are giving the exams well, if you are scoring good and step 2 CK, in step 1, if it is pass and fail. So if you are passing the exam in the first attempt, if you are getting step 2 CK over 235 or 240 plus scores, you are now you are assured that okay, first level is crossed. Now you are in the good safe scores where you can get into the residency. That's the first step. Second step is like, now you have to work more on your research papers, your oral presentations, your poster presentations, your certifications, your memberships, all those things. And then goes with the step 3. Now if you are planning for USMLE, I would really request you that don't apply before giving your step 3, because it's getting very competitive. And now it's important that you have given step 3, because even the interview and the hospital will be sure that okay, you are done with your step 3. Now you are ready, totally ready. So they easily accept those students who have already given step 3 and they are done with the first phase of USMLE journey. Okay. Now, as I told, the cons: examination fee, then application visa issues, then it's competitive in a way that they will, of course, they will first focus more on US students rather than IMGs. That's thing. And then licensing and coming to the matching process, it's very hectic, it's very complicated, not complicated but at multiple steps. So students need proper guiding, because every year they are bringing new changes. This, for example, since last year they have brought signaling, so you should know how to signal the programs. So there are a lot of steps. Then your LOR, then how your MSP is written. So there are a lot of points. But these days there is a special news going on about the visa issues. So you don't have to worry about it. I have received a lot of queries from you that there is a visa restriction and how we will manage, how, what are the other options. No, you have to work for your exam, the goal that you have decided. If you have decided the goal for USMLE, go for it. Okay. Coming to the visa issue, especially for Indians, you don't have to worry about it because in the residency process, majorly J1 visa goes. Okay. H1B visa majorly comes after your residency program. Okay. And when you are into that system, when you are spending your 3 to 4 years there, hospital know that they are going to spend on the right doctor. So you are working there, you are making contacts there, your hospital will sponsor, or wherever you will be applying for the fellowship, they will sponsor your visa, and doctors do get the visa easily, so you don't have to worry. This is one of the good thing that doctors have the good reputation, so the visa issue is still easier for us comparing to the other professions in US. Okay, so this is one important point I wanted to tell you, so you don't have to worry, focus on the exam, you don't have to worry about different news. And for every single thing, for every guidance, for everything, we are there with you, so you can scan the QR code and you can join the WhatsApp group. You can DM me on LinkedIn. You can DM me on Instagram. You can DM us on Instagram on Medjections. We are available for you everywhere for all your queries. Now, another one, PLAB. I received a lot of queries for PLAB also, that there is job restrictions. Then is it is it a guaranteed job availability there or not? So now there is very important thing about PLAB and another exam, that is MRCP. I will be talking in the next slide. So exam, you know that PLAB is one, PLAB 1 is all about MCQs, okay, and PLAB 2 is OSCE, and you can give the PLAB 1 in India. And eligibility, you know that first you have to get your primary medical qualification in like MBBS degree verified, and then you can give the exam. You have to give it after completing your graduation. That's the thing. USMLE, this is the very plus point, that you can start your journey as early as possible as you enter the med school. But for other exams, you have to give once you are qualified, right? Then you have to give the exams, and once you qualify, you go for the GMC registration. And along with that, you have to give IELTS or OET. OET is much um, um, used these days because OET is a professional exam. IELTS is for general population also, anyone can give, but OET is for the professionals. So that's why OET is more preferable for any of the residency you are working. And it's not that tough actually. You can, if you practice well, if you know the paper, you know the format, you will easily crack it. Now coming to the employment, right, the first important point is that this is the faster route to get into the NHS training. That's true. Another thing, you will get English speaking environment. That's also not a problem because you have already given exam. You don't need language conversions and all. Mostly that is common in Europe. That's the important point. And you have a very balanced work and life there. So these are the pros. But coming to the cons, that's true. It's this course of PLAB. This if you are first pass, second pass, it doesn't guarantee you the job. Similarly, I believe that no country will guarantee you the job. The point is that how you are showing yourself, how you are out showing yourself in your resume. So your resume talks. That's what I always tell every student. You are not talking in the to the person who is reading your resume. Your resume should speak. Who are you? How good match you could be for them. So you should be working on so many points. Even for PLAB, you need to work on the audits. You need to work on the research. Even they have points for the research authorship order. Then you have to work on the oral presentations, oral and poster presentation. It must be in your country and in another international country also. It's like that. So there are multiple points that you can get for the PLAB. Then additionally, there you can go for some online fellowships or the master courses. A short course you can do. That also very helpful to outshow that yes, you are so much into the subject that you are applying into, right? So that this is very important. So another point that you should keep in mind that when you are working as a junior doctor there, the pay scale is not that high. Okay, that's one point. And UK stay is obviously very costly, right? So that's one thing. And if you're okay that okay, you will save less initially and you will give other exams and then get into the system, then you are ready to go. And there is no problem with the visa issues here, so you can easily get into a visa. And if you are applying it properly, you will easily get that. So you can join us, and additionally we will help you with the UK visa and even for the US visa. So visa guidance also we will be providing to all the students. So these are the important points, and I hope I have answered your queries that was related to the PLAB. Now, important one, that is MRCP. Now this is a new trend going on. Why? Because MRCP has been recognized by MCI. Okay, understood. But it's not like you will give the exam in India and you will be recognized as a specialist. You have to go with the CCT. That is compulsory rotations that you do, compulsory training that you do there. Okay, and after that certification, the MCI will approve you as a specialist. But in the private companies, like private hospitals, you can work as a consultant if you have given MRCP. That's why MRCP has been opted these days. So they have three steps. Part one, MCQ, it asks you about internal medicine, subjects, cardiology and clinical sciences, genetics, all those questions and all those papers. And they have around two papers in part one, morning paper, evening paper, and it's for around 3 hours, I guess. And they have around 100 questions. Or 100 questions, yes. Then in the part 2, it's again more clinical. It's also MCQ, but it's more clinical based questions. There are more like x-rays, clinical diagnostics will be given there. In part 1, it's not, there is no ECG given, it won't be any x-ray, it won't be any CT, MRI, nothing. But in part 2, it's more clinical. They want you to be give the exam as a doctor. That's it. So they want that. And then comes the PACES, that is clinical stations you will get, and you have to work on I think 7 to 9 clinical stations, and it's like that. So then you get MRCP recognition, and after that you go with the GMC registration, and you can go in the specialty training also. But again comes a few points. The cons. The first con is that it's a rigorous exam. Again, it's not a sprint race, it's a marathon. You have to work at multiple steps. You need uh, it- again, like PLAB, it's also not guaranteeing you the job, but it's, since it's more competitive, more advanced exam, it is more tough exam. That's why what happens is that now UK is preferring more students with the MRCP. Along with that, while preparation, you have to go with the audits, you have to go with the research papers, you have to go with the oral presentations, book chapter writing. And that was the reason I started this book chapter writing in January. And now we have like book chapter publishers and authors. Additionally, again, we are going to open the slots. So if you are planning for MRCP, PLAB, AMC, USMLE, you should go with the book chapter writing because it outshows your work. So these are some important points. So you have to decide if you want to give the PLAB or you want to give MRCP. It's really important. So MRCP gives you some plus points, okay, but at the same time, it's tough than PLAB. And again, you have to work on the research and your resume building, and your resume building have important points there, okay. Now, Australia, the more searched questions about Australia these days because it's getting more recognized. So It's much the major point here is it has a very quality life in Australia, and it has permanent residency available there, so it's very much opted by the clinicians these days. And they have a structured career options, they have structured payments, good payment. And even if you are working in rural areas in Australia, they provide you incentives, and even your housing and everything goes free there. So there are multiple profits, benefits going to Australia these days. But now let's talk. There are multiple steps here. Okay, one is a standard pathway. Another is a specialty related pathway. It means, or if you have given some exams. For example, if you are done with USMLE exam, or if you are done with PLAB, if you are done with MRCP, they are all recognized in AMC. That's one of the good point. So what happens here is, if you have given the exam, good, you can apply in the AMC, and then you have to, maybe I think you have to give some OAT, and then you pass the exam like AMC 1 and AMC 2. That's the thing. And if you have not given any exam like USMLE, PLAB, or MRCP, or exams like that, then in that case you go with the standard pathway. So standard pathway goes, you have to pass the AMC MCQ, which includes internal medicine, women's health, mental health, all those questions. And they are case-based questions. They are not direct questions like what is majorly asked one-liner or things in NEET PG. It's not like that. And then comes AMC clinical exam. That happens in Australia. That is OSCE, again stations. And then again you have to prepare for your resume, research, book chapter writing, audits, all those things to outshow that you are the right person for the job. Then you find the jobs are easily available in each of this specialty. You have to check, and then you have to register in the organization, for example Australian or Association of Internal Medicine, Surgery, and different specialities, wherever you want to get into. And after that you go with supervised practice, and then you get full registration. Supervised practice is for 1 year, you get incentives, you get paid there. And then you go with the specialty training. So it's like that. So Australia is getting popular now. That's I believe that it's a good thing, because they have slots, they have good population, and they want more doctors. They are good doctors, so that's important. Um, then there might be sometimes visa restrictions to, but it's really not that. Mostly they are allowing everyone, and I think it's a good option for those if you are planning to shift from other competitive exams. Australia is a new chance, but still, as I told you, your resume should speak. Any exam, it doesn't matter. If it depends on what exam you want to give, but to get a good score, again strategy and your exam preparation is necessary. But at the same time, your resume building is one that you have to focus on, or for any exam except NEET PG. Otherwise you have to work on your um, resume building. Now, Singapore residency. The major cons here, I should tell you, it's still recognition problems are there in Indian rules. So you have to be um, check with the MCI rules. First thing, you have to go with the Singapore Medical Council licensing exam, and even they also recognize USMLE and MRCP exams. So that's another good point. So MRCP is, that's why it's a good exam, because it allows you to be recognized at different places, even if it is UAE countries, if it is Singapore, if it is Australia, they are all recognizing the exams. So that gives you perk for getting into the system. Now, there is conditional registration here. You don't get permanent registration in Singapore. Singapore is good when you are applying for the job. So once you are done with your residency, you should have the experience of Singapore. That's my suggestion, because they have advanced hospital training, and it's really good. But coming to the residency, they have very limited seats, and the seats goes majorly for their own students. That's a thing. You should be very you know like you should be in a limelight, then only you would be able to get into the Singapore residency. That's a point. You should be very different from others. So there is very strict licensing in Singapore, and they also want the local experience, so you should have the local experience. So it might take longer time in Singapore rather than other countries. So that's the thing. Then again, cost of living is high there also, and in some of the specialties they might ask you for the long hours training. And also for the jobs there, you have to get into direct application to the hospital. That is, employer sponsorship is also available there. So that's another thing, that you have to apply to every different hospital, and you have to check for the job availability there. So these are some points that you have to check for. Now another point, if you want to get into Singapore residency, then you should also go for some short-term fellowships and observerships, which really make your application stronger. So that's the thing. Now another, Germany, that was also asked in the queries, that how to go for the Germany residency. One of the good point is that it's free, but you have you have to get the German proficiency, then only your education is free in Germany. So you might be knowing this. So here comes two exams. One is knowledge test, and another is language and the medical German. So you should know about that. And the exam is bit easier, but the language barrier is one of the things. So you should really know good German language, then only you can survive in Germany. That's important. And it has one of the good thing about Germany, it has excellent public health care. And the government covers the insurance system, and they have a very strong specialist training also, and they are advancing a lot. Even in neurology, if you are interested in neurology, there is just one residency program that has a special training for the stroke. Nowhere else has a special training just for the stroke. So they are really advancing a lot in Germany. So that's a good point. I feel like if I will get a chance, I will surely go for once, just for a small training period. I really want to go, but again, the language barrier. So and I don't have time for the language thing. I'm very bad at language learning. So if you are interested, if you are so good in language learning, you should try for the Germany residency, I would suggest. Additionally, it has a very good scope for the research. You can easily get into research if you're interested into research. And there have good opportunities in the hospitals also. So Germany residency and settlement is, I would say, a good option. And the only con I told you is the language. And also sometimes another point is you might have some additional training requirement, and just because you are IMG, so that can be one of the thing. Otherwise, Germany is a really good option, and it's the residency is also recognized in India, so no problem. Now, yes, if you are planning for the Germany residency, you should start your language training as soon as possible. One of my friend, when I was in med school, she was planning for Germany residency, so she started her language learning from I think in year one itself, and in year two she started passing the exams, because every level you have to cross. So she started doing that. So that was one of the good strategy she opted for. So I would also suggest you, if you want to go with this, you should start early language training. Another group of students asked for the France residency, and it's less talked residency pathway. So again, why it's less talked? Because you have to learn the language, French. So if you have a good proficiency, and then again you have to go for the examination, that is ECM. And once you do this, you are into the system. So additionally, you have to go with some of the documentations, because France has some additional documentation work for non-European Union candidates. So that's the thing. But yes, one of the pros is that there is a very again a structured medical care they have, and the training is really good in France. It's recognized in India. That's another good point. And the cost of living is also reasonable, and you get good amount. So it's good. And you have also a safer residency environment in France. So that's a good point for those who are planning to have a calm and relaxed residency uh, training. So for the mental health, that's the thing. Then French language, this is the biggest con. Not a con, but I would say that for those who think that language is a barrier, then it's really requirement. And again, then you have for the small training and the electives, there are very few slots that are opened, and they don't advertise much. So that's a problem. You should have some good contacts in France, and then only you would be able to get into, you know, recruitment for the local recruitment in the hospital. So that is the thing. You should have some contacts. You should be in contacts with the professors there, or hospital management. They can help you with this. So you have to make good contacts there to get into the job opportunities. Now in Ireland residency, the registration goes with Irish Medical Council. Okay, so IMC it's called, and it requires verification your English proficiency. You can give OET in that, and then the possible examinations that is in the Ireland. It has step one, step two kind examination, much easier than others like UK and France. And it has again the clinical standards is equivalent to UK, so you don't have to study differently for UK and Ireland. But yes, the standards, exam standard might differ. The training is really good in Ireland. That's one of the plus point. And for Indian graduates also, it's very much easier to get into Ireland's system. And yes, it's competitive. And another point is that there are very limited slots for the junior positions in the hospitals there. That's a problem again. And even the stay is expensive in Ireland. So these are some points. Otherwise, Ireland is another good option if you are thinking of UK. Or if you want to just shift a little bit from UK, then Ireland is a good option. Okay. So yes, for the IMC registration, MCI registration, you need degree verifications, and also you have to check with the NMC for the specialist recognition, because it's some of the specialists have they are linked, because Ireland and UK has this thing that some of the associations are interlinked. So you get the registration of like UK based, but in some of the specialities it's not like that. So that's the problem. So you have to really work on which speciality you want to work in. So then you can decide that if it is approved, if it's not, or things like that. Now, again, a common one, that is DHA. And again, there are so many students asked about Dubai Health Authority. So they have examination, MCQ examination, and a very high pay compared to India. It's tax-free salary for many cases, and hospitals are well equipped, good infrastructure. Um, you know that there is so much of Indian population in UAE, so there is cultural adaptation is good. The eligibility goes with MBBS internship and 2 years experience along with your research. Research is again a very important point in Dubai health authorities. So they ask you for that. Exam is easier. You have to score higher. That's the point. And additionally, the major con is that they prefer their students. Why? Because what IMGs do, they get into DHA to get the experience, and then they leave DHA to get into US or UK. So that's why, for these reasons, they are not accepting many IMGs. So you have to outshow yourself again in your resume, your everything, and you have to show this that you want to be in DHA, not to other places. So then only you might get the into the system. That's a point. Additionally, another thing is that most of the experience that you join there, it's on a contractual basis. So sometimes they might ask you for a longer period of training, and also the job security thing. So you have to check with each of the hospital. And regulations, they are very strict with that, so you know that. So professional regulation must be followed properly in their system. And but yes, as you know, the licensing and credential verifications are mandatory at every exam, and Indian graduates work in DHA, they have good option for there. But again, the only important point here is that your resume should speak. Your resume should say that, okay, I'm interested, first thing, I want to work, why you want to work, and they have the interviews thing also. So in the interviews, they ask about your knowledge, your some clinical cases they can provide you, and then why you want to be in DHA. So that's the thing. So if you want to go there, it's a good option. And I know some of my friends who are into DHA, so they have good experience there. They didn't face much of the competition, just because they were um, they had a very strong resume. So that was one of the things. So you should work on that, and you will get into the system. Now, a very important thing. Then, what if you're not interested to work in work directly into the residency? You might have some job opportunities after MBBS in different countries. Now, it could be in Maldives, Caribbean islands, in African islands, Mauritius, Pacific islands. For Mauritius, there is in every year there is one exam that goes with the MCI itself, in the NBME. So you have to keep a check for the Mauritius, and then you can qualify for the exam. You do the exam, get this course, apply, and you can get directly job in Mauritius. So that's a good point. NBME deals with the examination. Then in the Pacific Islands, Maldives, and Caribbean Islands, you have to be very, I would say, skeptical while checking for the job opportunities, because there are many companies who will offer you the job opportunities. So you have to be sure that you are into the right people there. And also, I won't suggest you to go with the private companies, but only go on the official government sites. They provide the job opportunities there, they provide what they need. Your resume should be there, your interview and everything, and you can get the job. Okay, so you should always check that. It's you can also use these job opportunities for making your resume stronger. Okay, not just you will earn, but also you will make your resume stronger. The work experience is not very hectic, so you can prepare for the exam. Additionally, you will earn, you will stay at good place. Obviously, islands are beautiful, and that will be a good point. And at the same time, you can show up that yes, um, here is the thing that I have the experience in these countries, in these islands, and I know how to manage emergencies. You should have BLS ALS certification before applying to these countries, so that's important. Okay, and for the Mauritius exam, you can check their previous papers. NBME has that on their site, so you can get that. You can see how they're asking the questions, and you can prepare accordingly. So every year, I think in this time it was in July or August, the exam was there. So I think the next July, August, you can prepare for the exam. So a good opportunity. Next, in India. Now, if you are MBBS graduate, you still have these opportunities. You can be a medical content writer, you can be junior resident, you earn a good amount from ranging from 70,000 till 1 lakh. Medical officer, contract basis, you get 1 lakh monthly. Then you can join in pharmaceutical companies. Yes, today only I was talking to one of the mentee, and she was asking about the pharmaceutical companies, and I told her that they provide you the job applications, they open the job opportunities. You should apply as an mbbs, and you have the option to work as a doctor, to work as a team with there, and they keep doing different researches, so that also gives you another perk you will earn. That's one thing, and you can add up in the resume that you worked in this pharmaceutical company, or you did this. So this also outshows your outshows you in your residency application. So that's one thing. Additionally, you can join as an online practitioner. There are so many apps these days. So these are also not only just a job opportunity, but also you can use these opportunities as for your resume building. So that's one important thing. So coming to the point, as a medical content writer, we have opened the slots for the job opportunities. Is for those who want to be a medical content writer, we would be training them, and initially it will be a volunteer basis, and then it will be a paid job. So if you are interested, you can DM us, and you can mail your resume, and we will contact you. So now here is the joining link. You can join us on Instagram, and WhatsApp group will also be provided to you. So you will be updated about all the conferences, about research opportunities, about audits, about conferences internationally, Indian conferences, everything. And whatever opportunities will come in the way, the job opportunities and everything, you can get all the updates. Now, before going to your questions, I have few points. Let me get back here. The points are, the very important point, when you are deciding which field or which country will be good for me, okay, you should think about cost and the timing, your family background, you, if you can afford that or not, the timing, that will you be able to give this much of time, this much of hard work for your residency application. That's very important. Then another important point, if you are returning back to India, it's good if you want to settle there, that's absolutely okay. But if for any reason you are returning back, then what will be the recognition in your country, what are the NMC rules, you should check with that, and not just take it for granted. um, you can take it as an opportunity. For example, if you're working in US, you are ECFMG certified, you have completed your residency, and now you want to come to India for like in 2 months, 3 months, one time, and you can connect with a hospital here, and you can just work for a day or two, and you can earn a lot of amount just as a camps and all. So there are a lot of opportunities you can utilize even if you are returning to India in the vacation period. Or if you want to go, you can check for the um, this mm, in Dubai also there are many hospitals, they doctors get connected, so like that. But very important, you cannot do it on H1B visa. You can do only when you get the green card. That's very important. So don't do this in a different visa issues are really a tricky thing. So read the regulations properly and don't do such activities that you get barred from there. Okay, so just remember this. Then another point, language and the clinical experience. Like I told, Germany, France, there are problem with the language, right? You have to learn, you have to pass that language at good scores. Like you need B2 C1 levels. So that's important. But the clinical experience that you get there is like out of words, right? It's that amazing there, and they are advancing a lot. So these are some important points. So you have to decide on this also, that will you be able to cross this language barrier, and are you ready for advanced technology training? So that's another thing. Then visa and immigration, as I told, and the career goals also. Why you are applying to different country? Just for some, you know, just the crowd is going there. That's why, or just to show up to your peers, or it's like for you, for your mental peace, for your family, for everything, for getting a better lifestyle. So you should be very clear with your career goals and your life goals, and it should match with your family background too. So these are some really important points. And along with this, a risk management. Risk management means what if at some point you have to return, right? And then you have the issue um, with the MCI approvals, then again it's a problem. So you have to check all these points. Once you're done with this, once you decide on all these factors, you are ready to go. Everyone will tell you the pros. You should also consider the cons. That's what I always tell to all the students. Everything seems glitter. Australia, France, Germany, name them and it would look like, oh wow. But you should really work on the cons, that will you be able to adjust there or not. Far from the family, far from the friends, you have to make your new friends, colleagues, then managing the hospital, managing your personal life, expenses, everything. So consider all the factors and then decide that is it a good option or not for you. The options: cardiology, gastro, derma, neuro, and onco. And we are going to start on 10th of October. And you have the special discount that will be for the 20% discount for your this special event. Additionally, you can do is you can directly contact us, you can DM us. Not only clinical review, we also work on systematic review, letter to editor, and every month there are different slots. So you can work in the team with your friends also. And even if you don't have friends, we prepare the proper team where we guide every weekend. We guide the students how to do. Then there is one mentor for every group, and you will get the paper flow for the whole research paper, how to write, what to write, what is the word limit, every single thing. We teach everything, we guide for everything, and then you prepare with the team, and then we publish it mostly in Scopus Index journals, and we also try for the PubMed Index journals. One of the abstract are got selected in BMJ journal, so like that. And along with that, you have the audits, you have book chapter writing, that slots are going to open soon.